Hello, my name is Michael Lambert, and today I'm in Belgium. I'm in a city called Liège, which is in the east of the country. It's about 60 or 70 miles immediately east of Brussels. It's a city of about 200,000 people, and it was originally a coal mining and a steel city, but nowadays it's a much more mixed economy, and I think they do a certain amount of high-skilled manufacturing. It's a city which I don't think you'd cross the world to visit. I mean, Belgium's got so many very beautiful cities like Antwerp and Ghent and Bruges and so on. But it's a city which, on first impressions, or certainly my first impression, was a bit shabby, a bit run down, and yet you very quickly see it. In fact, it's on the up, and I think there's a lot of confidence here, a lot of optimism, and a lot of reasons to believe this city is. I suppose what's happening is it's being levelled up, and they're making a big effort at it, and it's really, what is happening is actually quite impressive. But anyway, I'll show you a few pictures and a little bit of video and see what you think. This is just of the centre of the city. So two things struck me when I arrived here and started looking around Liège. The first was how many closed shops there were. I mean, there are no end of shuttered shops, which have obviously gone out of business. And I did also notice a number of homeless people, especially in the north of the city. But on the other hand, I was amazed at the quality of the merchandise and how nice some of the shops were, and how they seemed relatively busy, and how, above all, what really struck me was how the restaurants and bars are all absolutely packed. I couldn't really quite understand this. And bear in mind, it was beginning of April. It was cloudy and miserable. I was here on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. It wasn't any bank holiday or a weekend or anything, but everything was heaving, and that seemed strange. I didn't really expect that, but anyway, have a look at what I saw in some of the shops. Now, as I think is happening in many countries, including the UK, is that big shops are taking over retail and becoming more and more powerful. And it's more and more difficult for small retailers to survive, particularly in the UK, where rents and business rates are so high. And it seems that big shops, and indeed shoppers, seem to prefer shopping centres because it's nice and warm and it's dry and all the rest of it. And I think Liège is no different. In Liège there is a shopping centre, and it's a rather unusual shopping centre that it's almost all on one level, but the level it is shaped like a snake. It's rather odd, and it took me best part of 5 minutes to walk from one end to the other, full of all the famous brands that you would expect to find at any shopping centre. And I filmed it and take a look. I mean, if you don't want to watch, you don't look at it and someone walking through a shopping centre, you can fast forward this bit. But anyway, here it is. One of the things that Belgium is famous for, apart from chocolate and beer, is their cuisine. The food is really, really good. In my experience, at any rate, is very good in Belgium. And I think food is very important to the Belgians. Now, walking around the city, there are all sorts of wonderful delicatessens, shops selling cheeses and shops selling cooked meat and all sorts of different foods, and lots and lots of really nice restaurants. And the funny thing about the restaurants, as I mentioned before, I think, is that they're also busy. You know, on a grey Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday in April, you don't really expect restaurants to be packed out, but most of them seem to be. And like the bars as well, of course, the bars were all full. And you kind of think, well, how can they afford to eat out? It seems more expensive than it is in the UK, and they don't have Weatherstones, and they don't have Nando's and Costa Coffee. They all seem to be privately owned restaurants and bars and so on. And I had a look at a website called Numbeo, which you may know of, which lists a whole load of categories and prices, which are submitted by people who view the website, and they do a same list for different countries. And comparing the UK with Belgium, in Belgium, salaries are about 14% on average less than in the UK. And as I thought and as I observed, food is generally just a little bit more expensive than it is in the UK. And so there again, you come back, you say, well, how is it these people can all afford to go out, and they all seem to be able to buy all these nice clothes and things, because presumably these shops are not just displaying all these clothes, they're not selling them. And it's pretty simple. The answer is that in the UK, rents are somewhere between 47 and 67% more than they are in Belgium, and to buy a house, it's going to cost you between 50 and 70% more than it would cost you in Belgium. In other words, we are spending so much money on property. And on top of that, of course, we've got utilities, which are in the UK around 50% more expensive than in Belgium, and things like rail fares, for example. I travelled from Belgium to Liège, and it cost me almost exactly half what it would have cost for a similar length journey in the UK at the same time. In other words, so much of our salaries, so much of our income is being sucked away in property and utilities and travel that there isn't any money left to go out spending. And of course, the consequence of this is that your economy is never going to grow if nobody's got any money to spend, because all these businesses that depend upon spending, particularly hospitality, have got no chance. And I think that was the big lesson I got from this, that people in Belgium can afford to go out, they can afford to buy nice clothes, and and I think this is all part of the whole point of these videos. Really, it's just all about quality of life. I mean, I think despite all whatever else, despite the fact that the town in places is shabby, despite the fact there are lots of empty shops, I mean, the quality of life, if you can afford to go out and have a good time, and you can afford to buy clothes, it's important. Now, despite, as I said before, parts of Liège being a little bit shabby and in need of a bit of care and attention, you can see overall the city is on the up. I think what is happening to Liège is very much what we would like, in theory, to happen to towns all over the UK that are a bit run down. And one of the biggest things that's happening is that they're building right across the city, and it's causing huge disruption. They're building a tram line. It's going to have 23 stations. It's costing 360 million euros, but it's going to be really, really nice. And it is, I'm not sure when it's due to be finished, but it's well underway. At the same time, there's some really fancy buildings going out, office buildings and so on. But the absolute jewel for me, and the thing that I would visit Liège to see, is the station. Believe it or not, they have this extraordinary station. It is absolutely stunning. It's only a small station. I mean, it's about 8 or 9 platforms, but it really is amazing. And I think people will probably come to the city just to see that station, bizarrely enough. But anyway, have a look. And also they do have some very, very nice parks in the town centre. But have a look and see what you think. Now, I've been making these videos in different provincial towns in Europe to try and get some idea of the quality of life there compared with in the UK, because we're always being told all the time by Tory politicians that it's just the same everywhere else. Everybody's suffering just as much as we are, whereas in fact that's not the case. I think most people throughout the EU are just getting on with it, and I think Liège is an excellent example. I mean, it's a town that is a little bit shabby, but my word, there's an awful lot of building going on and development, and I would imagine a few years' time it'll probably be a very nice city actually. And not only that, people have got money to go out. If your pubs and your bars and your restaurants are all absolutely full of people, and the shops are all full of really nice or lots of nice expensive clothes and so on, then you must be doing all right. And I reckon the quality of life in Liège is not bad at all. Now, I wanted to tell you a little bit about something that happened on the way back, because I had to get the train from Liège to Brussels, and I had to change at a town called Leuven. Now, I'd never been there before, I don't think, and in fact, I don't even know I'd even heard of this town before. But when I got there, I found that I had either 5 minutes or an hour and 5 minutes for the next train, and so I thought, well, I'll take the hour and I'll go and have a look around. So I went outside the station, a great big square there. There's some big brasseries, 3 or 4 of them, with hundreds of tables outside, loads and loads of people, absolutely bustling. And leading away from the square was this long, straight road. And at the end of the road, I could see this rather ornate building, which I wanted to have a look at. So I walked down this road, and every sort of 50 yards or so on this road, there was a tree which had been cut. They'd cut it sort of to a square shape. So it looked very nice, looked quite smart, quite posh. And I'm looking in the shops. There are all these nice dress shops, as I'd seen in Liège, and nice clothes shops, and all the shops seem very nice. No sign of a betting shop or a pound shop or a charity shop. I mean, these are all nice shops. The entire length of the road, I didn't see many empty shops, if any, actually. But anyway, when I got to the end of this road, I found myself in front of this fantastic building. I'll show you some pictures in a moment. And unfortunately, I only had enough battery to take 3 or 4 pictures. But anyway, there was this really beautiful square, and it was surrounded by these brasseries, come bars, come restaurants. Lots and lots and lots of people sat out having a good time, and there was a nice buzz about the place. And I just thought this was a wonderful atmosphere. It was really, really nice. And I just thought at the time, went through my mind, this is the Belgian equivalent of Wetherspoons, of Nando's, of Costa Coffee. That's our equivalent of these sort of places. And I thought it was a bit sad, really, because how can you compare the quality of life when you're sat in a beautiful square like that, and with all these nice restaurants, and what are alternatives in many, many cities in the UK. But anyway, that's really it from from Belgium. But I hope you found this of some interest. And whilst I hate to ask it, if you feel like giving me a couple of quid, I would be extremely grateful, because these trips are quite expensive. And despite what some commentators say about it being a holiday, it actually is quite hard work. But thank you anyway, and until next time, bye for now.